know, the Mary Freebed team is an experienced and very comfortable team as well.
The Freebed Pacers will start it off with Charles McDonald, Gain Denbraber, James Mosseri, Chris Comer, and John Boyd. And first shot is up and in. James Mosseri for two.
Nice little first look there, and you feel like when you're coming out of either timeouts or the start of a game that the team's going to run something that they're very confident in as their first possession. So that looks like it's probably a bread and butter type play.
Romo down low to the rolling Fick. And here come the Mavericks, answer immediately with their first trip. The Mary Freebed Pacers, as that three is up and in.
Really smooth, nothing but net.
Mosseri with the tray. Fireworks instantly among two NWBA powerhouses. The Freebed Pacers in the first game defeated the Memorial Rehab Sharks, and in the second game they defeated the WWAR Generals, as here come the Mavericks answering immediately.
4 shots, 4 baskets. So much for the getting the jitters out.
Oh, the jitters got eliminated on the opening tip, as that's a Pacers turnover. The Mavs will start with Luka Buxa, Alex Pabon, Danny Fick, Fabian Romo, and Blake McMinn. Those are your starting 5 for the reigning champions. Romo will tee up a 3. Offensive rebound taken by Buxa. Here's Romo over the contest of Boy, and he puts it in.
Really nice bank shot spot there for Romo. This Maverick team is really a tall team. 3 guys that have the post-up abilities.
As Charles McDonald with the roll and the score, Pacers by 1.
Just a little bit so I can see the basket.
How will the Mavericks look to respond? As Romo has it, here's Danny Fick, extra feed, back to Romo. Fabian will take, rattles in and out. Here's Comer, dishing it down low, and the bucket.
Really nice bucket there, really developed because of the high pick set by Comer. Once the pick and roll happened, the help had to come from that offside, which left the layup lane open on the right.
This Pacers team running their plays to perfection so far. Rarely made any mistakes here in the first. Romo fails to bank it in. Comer looks to push all by himself and couldn't get the layup.
A really nice open court move by him to get himself that layup, and just unfortunately not able to finish it.
And Luka Buxa on the other end with the 4-point swing just gets positioned behind his defender where only he can take that pass. 6 minutes remaining in the first. Fireworks to open up from both sides. A trip to the finals is at stake. Mosseri for 2.
And from this very much the same spot as the first bucket of the game, he really likes that right side baseline.
Here's Fick laying it up and putting it in with the soft touch.
Good recognition there by Danny. The top side defender left early to help on the pick and roll on the left side, which left the lane open for Danny.
really reading the game at such a high level. We have multiple Paralympians on the floor, Team USA members, just trying to prove themselves as why they're the best, and they're playing like it. Shots missed by the Pacers, picked up by Dallas. Here comes Romo on the left side, stopped by McDonald. Tried to find McMinn, and a foul will be called on the floor. Mosseri, his first personal. Team's first here in the first quarter.
First substitution in another big in for the Pacers in Villa.
Three balls up and missed by Romo. He's been taking a few. No call from the referee. We resume. And there's Cesar Villa. Just a dominating presence. He'll take, just a tad short. Romo looks to create separation. Buxa had the position and gets his offensive rebound for two.
Nice little finish there. He was buried a little deeper than he probably wanted to be and had to put the ball on the glass with just a little bit of spin on it.
As that's going to be a quick timeout for the Mavericks. 4 minutes to play in the first quarter. Mavericks by 1.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Back up underway with the start. 4 minutes remaining left here in the first quarter. Alongside me is NWBA Hall of Famer Doug Jones. My name is Max Gates, welcoming all of you on the air. James Mosseri leading the way with 7 points for the Pacers. Gabe Dunbraber with 2. Charles McDonald with 2, and here's a reverse layup just missed by Dunbraber.
Tough finish in there between two bigs.
Those finishes are so tough to come by because normally in wheelchair basketball, the center of the floor is normally where the most dangerous parts of the court is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason you always see some sort of wall just being put in front of the center of the rim.
Yeah, and on that particular play, Gabe would have preferred to be a little more to his right so he could get a little more glass, but he was kind of forced to the middle with Buka on the on that defensive right side.
Offensive foul committed by the Pacers, but they're wasting no time as they're trying to press full court. Here's Danny Fick crossing the timeline. Romo off the handoff, weaves towards the corner. Here's Pabon, he'll take. Too strong off the back iron. Mosieri, a tad strong. He's been having a great start with 3 minutes remaining in the first. Romo right down the middle. Forced to reset. Comer contests him. Dishes up to Fick. Extra feet to Pabon. 6 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Here's McMinn. Puts it in.
Friendly bounce on that one. Good positioning for him as a lefty. Able to get it up onto the heel, and it hung on that rim to fall.
Soft touch for the big man, McMinn. Mavs by 3. Mosieri cashes that one in. The 2 from the left corner.
And another baseline shot from him. Really, really his spot.
He really looks comfortable in that pocket.
He does. He likes that 12, 14-foot baseline look either side.
Vic forced to reset his shot fake. Here's Buxa off glass. Luka Buxa with a fantastic start. That's his 3rd field goal. Mavericks by 2. A minute and a half remaining here in the first quarter. And a trip to finals is on the line. Will it be the reigning, defending wheelchair Mavs, or will it be the Mary Free Bed Pacers dethroning the crown? The Pacers miss. Here comes Romo. Villa tries to shield him from his left. He looks to reset. And Buxa, yet again, free real estate under the rim.
So much size for this Maverick team, and size with agility too. These guys have done a really nice job of finding creases, getting themselves into those little 4-foot bankers.
Here's Poi. Finds Mosieri, gets swarmed on the corner. Referee blew the whistle. Blake McMinn called for his first personal. Teams first here in the first quarter for the Mavericks with 35.3 remaining. No calls as of late. McMinn scoring for 2 from the beautiful dish from Danny Fick. Play resumes. Here are the Pacers. Comer the dish. Boy, misses the shot. Danny Fick the rebound. The Mavericks have it. Shot clock turned off. The Mavs will look to end the first quarter on a positive note. It's Romo down low to McMinn. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, and he's the point guard for this Mavericks team, doing whatever he wants down the floor. 3 seconds, just short from Gabe Denbraber, and that will be it for the end of the first quarter.
And the Mavericks with 16 of their 20 points in the paint, so really effective in being able to get the ball inside. The Pacers have stayed with them predominantly because of good perimeter shooting of Mosieri. So they're going to have to figure out, the Pacers are going to have to figure out how to stop the Mavericks from getting those bigs right under the basket.
And it's so difficult to game plan against that because you may think, oh, there's a guard, two guards, 2 forwards, and a center. This is actually 3 bigs, and one of them is the leading ball handler on this team. And when he has that height mismatch, and Fabian Romo is incredibly fast on his chair for his size, it causes so many problems, which forces the defense to collapse around him.
Exactly, and he's really good on those bank shot, and there's 12 to 14 foot bankers. So if they pack back, then he's just going to shoot those bankers. If they go out on him, then they're vulnerable to those little brush picks that end up bringing either the top side or the weak side big into the paint.
Mavericks by 6 as we approach the start of the second quarter. 20-14 is your score. NWBA Hall of Famer Doug Jones alongside me. My name is Max Cates, welcoming all of you to semifinal Saturday. The winner between the number 1 ranked Mavs and the number 5 ranked three-bed Pacers will have their first slot to the finals for Championship Sunday. They tried to find McMinn for the Mavs under the basket. Pass intercepted.
Just a little bit cavalier on that pass. You know, I feel like he probably could have put some air under it. McMinn had plenty good position and enough size to where a softer pass in there might have been a better option.
Villa trying to argue with the ref that he wasn't the last one who touched it. Romo will look to inbound for Dallas. Buxa, the beautiful pass down low, just unfortunately missed by Flash Ross. Villa surveying the floor. Here's Den Braber. Uses the screen, down low. Unfortunate missed shot for Charles McDonald, but he'll head to the line on the chair-on-chair contact.
Really nice pick and roll there. That just ran exactly how a pick and roll is supposed to run. Great pick, ball coming back to the picker for a puppy.
Charles McDonald, this will be his first trip to the foul line. As the Pacers are down by 7 as we're soon approaching a minute remaining here in the second quarter. A lot of energy we saw in the first quarter. You just wonder when play starts to stagnate, who will take control in the half-court offense?
Yeah, you get this sense that probably the faster-paced game benefits the Mavericks. More of a half-court game, probably the preferred for the Pacers.
Romo.
Good defensive switches on that pick and roll.
Yeah, and
there we go.
They're sending 2 bigs on him. 3 seconds, it's McMinn, puts it in. Blake McMinn with a fantastic start. He sits at 6. Mavs with their largest lead of the game now at 7. Mosieri down low. McDonald rolling uncontested for 2.
Really nice recognition from Mosieri. You know, they brought extra defense to him because they're aware of his propensity for hitting that little outside screenshot there.
Offensive foul against Luka Buxa of the Mavs. That could have been a free 2-pointer for Danny Fick had there been a no call, as he had a free lane to the basket. And there you see the replay. Number 43, McMinn, cashes that one in. Mosieri, nothing but the bottom of the net for his second three-pointer of the game.
Really,
a dozen.
Really important last 2 possessions for the Pacers. You know, the game was in a spot there to where it had a chance to start to get away from them a little bit. And now, you know, 5 unanswered until that bucket there by Danny Fick. But, you know, now we're at a 4-point differential when the circumstance was 7 just a few moments ago and a chance to be 9.
7 minutes left to play. Mavericks lead cut down to 4 here in the second quarter.
That was a good defensive decision there by McMinn on that pick and roll. He stayed with the big long enough to where he could still trail the cutter and stop the shot from coming. Happily for the Pacers, John Boy recognized the open guy in the baseline on the opposite side and got the ball swung over there.
you see Fick on the replay. Nothing but net, and he had wide open. He had no coverage on that one. 6:40 remaining to play here in the second quarter. Pacers erase a quick 7-point deficit down to 2.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or weapon, you're unstoppable.
Both teams returning back onto the floor. It's a 2-point Dallas Mavericks lead. A trip to the finals is at stake, and the reigning champions are looking to return to the finals. Number 1 seed in the regular season, undefeated so far in tournament play. As Romo gets it almost stolen by Villa. Villa was the last one to touch it, and Dallas will have another chance to increase their lead.
Nice recovery by Villa because Dallas had numbers in front, and he hustled to catch up from behind and tip that ball out.
Look at the crowd we have in front of us. If you look at the sideline on the weak side of the scores table, right side on your screen, they're out of bounds. There's a lot of people watching. As Josie DeHart now checking in from the bench. Head coach John Dingo McPhail told me she's going to be useful in the latter stages of the tournament, and she shows you why.
She has a really nice shooting touch there, shoots very confidently.
She hits at such a high efficiency despite not taking as many shots. Villa had a good look at it, couldn't connect. Romo, half-court heave, caught by Buxa, and he puts that one in. Shot rattled out, that one's on me. I thought that was in before I just put that down on my score pad, and a quick 4-point swing as Mosieri puts it in. Five minutes remaining before the end of the first half. Here's DeHart along the baseline. McMinn, extra feet to flash. Just a tad too high for Luka Buxa. This court is littered with Paralympians. We're watching some high-level basketball right now. Mosieri tried his luck. That would have been his third 3-ball of the game.
Little heat check. He's really feeling it.
Pass too high for Buxa. Romo.
Dallas needs to Dallas needs to show a little more patience to get down into their to where they have easier passes into the bigs.
And this is the play they normally run to just answer after a bucket that's conceded against them.
Yeah. Well, they've got, once the ball, they've got more time than sometimes it feels like. Once, the count on the guy in the paint doesn't really start until the ball's into the front court.
Boyd gets sent back by Buxa. Romo the rebound. It's a 5-on-4 for Dallas. Romo down low to Buxa, and he'll make it this time. End-to-end action here in Richmond, Virginia, as the Dallas Wheelchair Mavericks have a small but firm 4-point lead as we're approaching the end of the first half. Boy, behind the back, McDonald for 2.
Really, really nice choice by John Boy there. You know, he was in a circumstance where a shot of his own was probably going to be blocked by Buxa, so he left it behind him for a really nice finish.
Buxa down low, just pushes it up quickly. And this low post work is giving the Pacers a lot of trouble here in the first half.
Especially when Dallas gets the ball below the free throw line before they attempt to make that entry. It's, you know, they've got enough size and time to make those passes easier like that rather than needing to make them from half court or out beyond the three-point line.
Den Braber showing the follow through off the deep two from the right wing. Mavericks by 2. This Pacers team, they are not going away easily. They're making the shots when they truly matter, and those shots would have stopped a potential run from the Mavericks as the referee blew the whistle on the floor. John Boy called for his first personal. Now the team's first here in the second quarter. Surprisingly, not a lot of fouls among both teams as we're approaching the end of the half.
No, really, really very clean play.
McMinn regathers and gets the touch to go, courtesy of Romo playing distributor. Osieri the fake, feeds it across. Den Braber down to Villa, leaning back, rebound taken by Romo. He sees an opportunity to push. Romo looking for options. Offensive foul against Dallas. So right when the Mavericks look to get a little bit more comfortable scoring the ball, they commit a crucial turnover as the Pacers will have it. Now head coach as well as player Dingo McPhail checking in. Luka Buxa taking a quick rest on the bench. So now Dallas will be sacrificing a little bit of height for speed. Comer on the weak side fails to convert. Comer switches on Romo. Extra switch worked. And she cannot miss. Josie DeHart, 2 for 2 coming off the bench. A real knockdown shooter on their hands.
The moment the ball reaches her, she knows she's in the spot where she wants to be to shoot. So there's no hesitation. Up goes the shot and down it falls.
Here's Mosieri curling against Romo. Statue of Liberty shot is missed. Offensive rebound is there for Den Braber. 46 seconds remaining.
Nice offensive board and put by Den Braber. He was, not the biggest guy that's in that spot and still managed to get himself leaned back enough to where he could get the ball up and over the big.
DeHart yet again, and the foul. Josie DeHart.
And with the bucket she made that was waved off because it came after a foul, she's shot the ball 4 times and hit 4 times.
As efficient as always, it seems like every time she shoots the ball, it turns into gold. Too strong on the free throw. Shot clock turned off. Pacers down by 6. Look to end it on a high note, heading into halftime. 10 seconds remaining. A shot from Denbraber, that one's short. McPhail the rebound, and that will be it for the end of the first half. Mavericks 36, Pacers 30, end-to-end action, and we still have one more half to go.
Really great first half. Both, you see the Mavericks power inside and Josie DeHart from the perimeter, and Pacers, Jimmy Mosieri, half of their points, all from the perimeter. So we'll see who's sustains this a little stronger into the second half.
Currently 4 scores for the Pacers, while there are 5 scores for the Mavs. We'll take a quick break heading into the start of the third quarter. We have a quick interview on our hands with fellow Paralympian Ryan Nieswender for Charlotte. We'll be back.
For me, what is important is that possibly had a little piece of something to do with you and your game along the way. It's all about the person next to you, man. I always felt that way with teammates and in life, It's about other people. I played for the U.S. national team for 4 different decades and was a captain of most of those teams, and there was some gold medals and other medals and a lot of jubilation and a lot of heartbreak along the way. But all that's got me to this point right now where I'm in a give back mode. I've always felt that way about basketball, is to not just be on the take. I became commissioner of the NWBA as a player just because of my desire to try to leave the sport better than when I was in it. 3-on-3 came to me because I love street ball. I thought about the opportunity where other players would get the chance to play with great players that they never thought they'd have the chance to play with. That's why the format here is you enter as an individual, and then we do a draw, make the draw ourselves so that we level the playing field as much as we can. Performex is involved, and we bring in some of their players to sprinkle with the local talent. It's just got win-win written all over it. Every year we have some new faces, but the core group keeps coming back because they love it. I get a lot of feedback from young players that I made a difference in their life, not just basketball, but in their life. And that I can take with me with my head up high, even more so than wins and golds. With the start of this 3-on-3, it's bigger than any individual. It's bigger than me. It's not what you lost, it's what you gained.
Max Cates alongside me is Paralympian Ryan Nieswender. And man, you have a semifinals matchup coming up against Charlotte. But before that, I wanted to ask you, how has your tournament been so far? How is the team looking before you're going to battle for a place in the finals?
Yeah, we're excited. I think we have a hungry group of guys and girls that are ready to bring a championship back home to Charlotte. We haven't done it in a long time in D1, and I think we have the right pieces together to hopefully put up a fight against the tough Wassa team. The Marquette Eagles have 3-time Paralympic gold medalist Jake Williams, sharpshooter, MVP of the Paralympics. So it'll definitely be a high-scoring battle. I'm excited for the challenge today.
It's going to be a big challenge indeed, and something I feel like is also important that we talk about is what you call culture.
Yeah.
It's something that you've started up. I would love for you to tell everybody tuning in a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so Cultured is a media collective. You can follow it on social media, and what we want to do is how can you become a fan that of sports you can't follow? And so we want to be a collective that allows you to follow not only wheelchair basketball, but all parasports. We want to change the narrative on how media covers parasports. We don't believe that disability is something that needs to be overcome. We believe that disability needs to be covered in the same way that any other sport would be covered when you're looking at the sports side of it. When Jake Williams drops a 40 piece and he's been doing it over 4 to 5 games, we want you to cover it not because it's impressive that he's doing it in a wheelchair, but just because of the talent that he has. And so we're covering that. We're looking to change the narrative, amplify athletes' voices, and educate society to culture the uncultured. So we're excited to do that.
As wheelchair basketball and all parasports is constantly growing, How do you feel Cultured will elevate that to the next level?
We believe the stories speak for themselves. We believe the athletes speak for themselves, but there's so many undiscovered para athletes that you need to know. And if you don't understand the sport, how can you become a fan of that sport? And if you're not a fan of the sport, how can you follow your favorite athletes? And so we want to create that connective tissue all throughout para sports. And we think that there's a huge opportunity. There's $13 trillion worth of disposable income globally that sits within the disability movement. And we think we can tap into that to help brands be able to reach maybe people that they haven't reached before, and a whole population that's hungry to amplify what's happening in our sports.
That's a great answer. I got to say, Ryan Eastwender, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
I truly enjoy that you're educating the people about para sports, and I think you have not only been a great player for such a long time, but you are a phenomenal ambassador for para sports in the future.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks so much, and go Hornets.
Go Hornets. Ryan Eastwender, Max Cates, thanking you all, and we'll start with the second half between the Mary Free Bed Pacers and the Dallas Wheelchair Mavs.
Mavericks signed me when I was 16 years old, before I accomplished anything in this sport. They were the first ones who believed in my capabilities, and I'll never be able to repay them for what they've given me. Not only from a product side of it, they believed in my potential before I even did. This is my way of giving back to their organization and their grassroots program that they're putting together here at DK's 3-on-3. It's just something I'm honored to be a part of. It's starting to get to that time where it's my turn to give back. If that means helping kids get to college, that's something I'd be interested in. If it's helping a D3 kid work really hard to get up to the championship level, that's something I'd be interested in. It's getting to the point where championships, gold medals, that's becoming less of a priority, but to give back to the sport that has given me everything in my life, if I have the opportunity to do that, I'm going to take advantage of it.
Welcome back to the start of the third quarter of NWBA action between the #1 Dallas Wheelchair Mavs and the #5 Mary Free Bet Pacers. We apologize for the quick technical difficulties. That will be fixed very shortly as Romo tries to go for the three, misses it too short for Dallas. We're gonna have to keep it radio style for now.
Yeah, we will. And so, so Dallas back with the 5 that were in the game to finish the first half rather than the 5 that started the first half.
Danny
Pacers with their lineup that started the game.
Danny Fick on the bench as that shot is pure. A run from the right wing. None other than Gabe Denbraber. His first bucket here in the second half. Dallas with a small change of a lead. They're still up. And right now they're just trying to limit the damage control as DeHart misses from the left wing. And there, the screen is back on. 36-32 your score. 8:40 remaining here in the third. Mosieri will take, misses off the window. He thought he got fouled on that one.
He turned in. I think he was counting on getting the contact and hoping to get an and one.
Romo directing traffic, looks for the lane in the middle. He finds it. Fails to put it in. Ball is loose. Pacers basketball.
That's a spot and a shot that I think Fabian would be happy to have most any possession.
Well, he can sure get to his spots in a very comfortable way as he's just taller than everybody and he's fast on the chair. But sometimes that's not the best look that he may want to get. Nice play, and there's the finish. Gabe Denbraber 2 for 2 here in the third quarter. Mavericks lead down to 2.
Nice start to the second half for the Pacers. They've come out focused and have gotten themselves really good looks and you know, change the complexion of the game when you get yourself in a spot to where it's a 2-point game now instead of a 6 or 8-point game.
The Mavs moving the ball perfectly around the wing. It led to an open shot by Romo. Just fails to bank it off the glass. Here's Villa, fails to put it in with the right hand. Romo looks to push for Dallas. He's all by himself, surrounded by 3 black jerseys. As he collides with Comer, referee blew the whistle. And the foul will go against Chris Comer. That's his second personal, first team foul here in the third. There you see, side of the wheel, connects. Easy foul call by the ref.
Charles McDonald back in. He had a nice first half with about 8 points. And he's active and has found his way. And again, nice cut there for McPhail.
Romo looking to dish. Mavericks increasing their tempo. As there's a lot of contact right under the basket. I couldn't see what the call was made. And there's the call. Gabe Denbraber, his first personal, now the team's second. Just under 7 minutes remaining. 2 team fouls on the Pacers, 0 on the Mavs. Nice recovery by McMinn. Just caught that one with a little reverse on it.
For Dallas, that high-low, too big combination is a really good look for them.
And it surely worked. Mosieri can't hit the 3-ball.
He's cooled off a little bit.
He's taking quite a few threes early in the shot clock. Maybe the question would be, are those shots worth taking? But when you're a 3-point champion and as good as he is, why shouldn't he take them? But I guess the appropriate question would be, When do you stop taking it? When is it too much?
Right.
Before it becomes a detriment to the team.
And when you get to really this point in the season and this point of a tournament, you know, you go with what got you there. So, you know, if he's really a bread and butter scorer for them, and they have to have him scoring to be successful.
John Boy with the water polo puts that one in. Pacers down by 2. 5:48 left, and here's Romo gliding all the way to the basket. He called for it because he knew he was getting it, and there was nobody there to catch him.
You know, it's been interesting here. There's been a couple times that the Pacers have made a run and they don't quite get over the hump to take a lead. And then there's been several times when the Mavericks have had a little lead and what looked like it might be an opportunity to extend that lead, and they haven't done that. It's really stayed 2 to 6 points all day.
As Villa curls to the basket, and he'll go to the line. There you see the replay. Beats McMinn to it and puts a little English on it. Blake McMinn, his second personal. Now first team foul against Dallas.
I think McMinn hurt himself a little bit there by leaning his upper body back. The chair didn't move very much, but it created the look of backing in.
Referee says play on. It's a 5-on-4 for Dallas. Villa has yet to cross half court. DeHart open. Short. And here's Villa. Romo in pursuit. And it's a Pacer turnover.
Good hustle defense by both of the big Mavs. The ball not quite out there enough for Villa to get ahead of the pack.
Here's a McPhail, bouncing down the middle, faking, getting fouled, and he puts it in. He can do it as a coach, and he can do it as a player. Dingo McPhail gets hit in the head, pump fakes, and he puts it in through contact. Charles McDonald, his first personal, team's third, with 4:35 remaining here in the third quarter. A lot of entertainment, to say the least. Alongside me is Doug Jones. My name is Max Cates. Brought to you by Performex. It's NWBA action. Now, Doug, I've been meaning to ask you, you have 10 championships, both as players and coach. What do you think separates a great team from a good team? Because you've seen it along many levels, as that shot is pure for John Boyd.
Well, you know, I think that the simple thing always is you've got to have, you know, the players and the talent to, and some players that have something that they do that differentiates them in terms of, you know, something that's really difficult to be stopped. But beyond that, when we presume that all of these teams are talented, it's, you know, it's the chemistry on that team and the playing together so that you end up anticipating where your teammate's going to be getting the ball there in a convenient spot for them to be able to score, helping each other on defense. So it's a lot of that at this point in the season.
Boy, couldn't rattle it in. 2 for 2 before that one in the third.
Boy, that hit every inch of the rim.
Romo hits the deck. And wheelchairs come flying across the floor as McPhail hits the deck. As he takes a tumble, he'll now look to regain his composure. 3:34 remaining, Mavs by 2. And Doug, because you were a player, do you think that helped you transition into coaching easier?
Certainly a familiarity and awareness of the game and what's happening out there, why it happens, helps. You know, there's certainly, you know, plenty of really good coaches who were either not players or were not superstar players. You know, in fact, sometimes I think, you know, the people who had to take advantage of every little angle and edge become better coaches because their attention to those details. They don't just count on rolling the ball out there and being more talented than an opponent.
McMinn taking a seat. Buxa checking in. Mosieri missing. Rebound taken by Dallas. Here's Romo, covered by Villa, uses the DeHart screen. They look to reset it. Here's DeHart, off the pin down.
Nice entry pass. No, yeah.
And that's a clean block by Villa.
Buka had an opportunity just to lean back and shoot that over, but he wanted to go underneath for some reason.
Despite the inside game being the bread and butter for the Mavs, the Pacers are giving it to them down in the paint. Nothing easy.
Nothing easy. Yep. It's this has really been a great fan game. I hope the people watching have enjoyed and appreciated just the ebbs and flows of this. Nice offensive board and finish by Buka. That's really a spot for him. If he gets to that spot, whether he's shooting or rebounding, it's money.
.44-40 is your score. 2 minutes remaining in the third. Boy will take. Missing from the right side. Romo looks to push. He has DeHart to his left and looks to wait it out. Romo, a three. Got it! He knew that was money right off of his fingertips. And the Mavs with a 7-point lead, a minute and a half remaining in the third.
Really nice job by Fabian on that to have gone a little bit low. With the ball action came to the baseline, and then he just curled back up at the top with plenty of room, nobody to get a chair on him. So he was able to square up that three really nicely.
Mavs with a quick lead, up by 7 as we're approaching the end of the third quarter.
Kind of another little point there where we've been before, to where it's an opportunity for Dallas to exert themselves and extend this lead. In the times that this has happened earlier in the game, the Pacers pulled it together and made a run of their own and brought it back to a 2-point game. So we'll see here whether it's time for the Pacers to make a run and tighten this back up, or whether the Mavericks can extend a lead.
That's a big question to ask, as the third quarter is soon over, and now we're going to see some big adjustments coming from both sides, because this Pacers team normally ends quarters on a very positive note. Mosieri, that one's too short.
And that was a called play. When you come out of a timeout like that, you want to go to what you think is going to be your a money possession. So they really were looking for that Mosieri three-pointer.
Buxa now sitting at 14 points. Mavs with their largest lead of the game at 9. A pushing foul will go against the Mavericks. James Flash Ross called for that one. And there you see McPhail just ever so slightly passing it down low. And Buxa will do the rest. Second team foul against Dallas, so no problems with any shots in the bonus. Villa misses from deep. Here comes Buxa, finds McPhail, fakes, dishes it to DeHart. Well contested by Villa. 7-second difference between shot and game clock. They send it down low. Mosieri over the arms of Ross, fails to convert. Here's Romo with 10 seconds remaining. Romo with 2, lays it in. Fabian Romo gone nuclear here in the third with 7 points alone in the quarter. And what a way to end the third for your reigning national champions.
Yeah, absolutely. The difference there, Romo, big third quarter. Jimmy Mosieri, who's been the workhorse for the Pacers, not a good scoring quarter.
51-40 is your score heading into the fourth. The Mavs with their largest lead of the game.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
A trip to the finals is on the line between the reigning defending national champions, your Dallas Wheelchair Mavericks, facing off against the number 5 Mary Freebed Pacers, who's given them problems in the first half, but the champions prove why they reign supreme with a dominant third quarter. They now have their largest lead of the game at 11.
Certainly a quarter that the Mavericks will be happy with. Long way to go. Long way to go, and 9 points can be erased relatively quickly, particularly with some of the outside shooting abilities of the Pacers.
As Romo hits the deep shot, lead up to 14 for Dallas.
And again, coming out of a timeout or a dead ball or a quarter change, you look for the team that has the ball as a possession to look to do exactly what they want to do in that first possession. So that was probably a set play for Romo.
It kind of seems like the Freebed Pacers are settling quite a bit on outside shots. And the foul for Luka Buksa. And this Dallas team can smell the semis, can smell the finals. And that was a huge play for Buksa as he gets the touch. He's had a dominant game so far. 18 points for Luka. Rebound taken by the Pacers. Now with a 16-point Mavericks lead to start the fourth, and all momentum heading in Dallas's favor. What do you do if you're the Pacers in this scenario?
Well, you have to resist panicking, of course, but they're 16 points with a quarter to go is a pretty steep uphill. So they're gonna need, I think, to get to hope to get most of the area hot. In the first half, Dim Braber was helpful in terms of the scoring, and McDonald as well. So they're gonna, they can't afford to take, the full 30 or 40 seconds each possession. They need to get down, get a good look in about 15 seconds, and hope to put a little bit of pressure on the Mavericks.
And if they do decide to settle on those long shots, it leads to long rebounds and eventually transition plays. Mavs by 16, 9 minutes remaining in the fourth. It's going to be a quick 30-second timeout.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
NWBA action brought to you by Performax. Alongside me is NWBA Hall of Famer Doug Jones. My name is Max Cates, welcoming all of you in a battle for the finals. The Dallas Wheelchair Mavs now have their largest lead of the game, 9 minutes remaining in the fourth, and are looking to return again to the big dance where they won it all last year.
So no foul trouble for either team. some sense of urgency necessary for the Pacers. And for the Mavericks, the goal is good, smart, steady possessions ending in easy shots.
Here come the Pacers. Here's Mosieri, bounce pass to Boy, forced to pass it out. Up top to Mosieri, puts it in. James Mosieri, his first three-pointer in the second half. He had 2 of them in the first half, and he looks to will this Pacers team to the finals, and they now rule it a deep 2.
So for the Pacers, they need to do just like they did in that last minute, play 1 minute at a time, look to get a stop, and then a good look on their own. So that first minute of the after the timeout was a good minute for them. They got a stop and a three-pointer. Got to stop again, but then maybe a little bit impatient of a shot there.
You've got to also take into account that this Dallas team, they're going to try and use as much of the time as possible. DeHart down low, Buxa, basketball poetry for the Mavs, just attacking all the closeouts coming to them, and it leads to a wide open Luka bucket.
Really good decision by DeHart on that, because the ball swung to her, and normally that's a one that she's going to shoot up. But she saw Buxa releasing on that screen and ending up under the basket all alone.
And because DeHart is such a threat shooting the ball, you have to close out on her. And
Absolutely,
when it's your biggest player on the floor, who's there to guard Luka Buxa down low when there's no one contesting him? They just have all these different threats that forces this Mary Freebed Pacer defense into a whirlwind.
Right. You know, and wheelchair basketball has built a great deal on that, you know, two-person game to where, you know, because it's getting out beyond screens in wheelchair basketball is a little different than able-bodied basketball. When you go out, you are more easily picked out. So pick and rolls happen more cleanly and more effectively, perhaps, in wheelchair basketball than in able-bodied basketball.
Eight seconds left on the shot clock. Mosieri to Comer, he'll take. Just left from the foul line. Romo with a blazing head of speed, and he'll go to the line.
Each possession for the Pacers now gets more and more critical.
Mosieri now called for his second personal. Team's first here in the fourth quarter. No shooting foul from the layup by Romo, so Dallas will look to inbound. DeHart down low to Buxa, and he'll go to the line.
Good foul by Den Braber there. That's 2 points if he doesn't foul him.
Den Braber's second personal, team second here in the fourth. And you really got to credit Luka Buxa's patience and positioning, as he always is in the right slot at the right time. And he's going to now take a technical free throw.
So the baseline official treated that as an intentional foul, which I guess we all know it was. You don't always see that call, you know, on, you know, you'll see it in a run out when somebody catches up from behind, but that one a tougher decision for the official.
Yeah, a question can be is, when you go for a play like that, do you do it to actually stop him from scoring, or do you actually just try and make sure they don't, or how do I say it? Do you go it because you don't want the player to score, or do you just try and make a play?
Yeah, in a situation like that, I think they needed to make sure that they got the stop. But the risk is if you don't foul them hard enough and they finish, then you give up a three-point play. So you're really, between the devil and the deep blue sea there, that you need to foul hard enough to make sure that they don't finish. But then you run the risk on those hard fouls in situations like that it's going to be determined to be an intentional foul.
Mosieri, nice pass down low. Boy had his shot well contested by Flash. Comer off the offensive rebound.
Good persistence, there by Comer. Staying with it.
Now, when you look at that basket they just made, it's a tough one to put in. It's so congested in the paint. And the fact that that's the way they scored compared to the looks the Mavericks are getting, the Mavericks are in firm control. It's because the Pacers have to do more to get a simple 2 points, while the Mavs, they just simply play their way that's so free-flowing. The defense can't keep up.
Yeah,
They're
well,
getting easier looks.
The Pacers don't have the luxury right now of being able to be patient. They've got to try and make something happen on one rotation of their offense. So that creates challenges for them. That ends up sometimes with what looks like forced shots. I'm presuming that the Mavericks just really like the look of the combinations that they've had out there this half. It's and I don't believe I haven't seen something to tell me there's an injury to Danny Fick or to Pabon, but we haven't seen either of them at all this half, and both of them were starters in the game.
Josie DeHart swishes both of the foul line shots, and there's Boy from downtown. John Boy,
and that's an important bucket to keep this thing within striking distance. This next minute and a half or 2 points is really going to tell the tale on this. If the Pacers can get this game back to within 10 with 3 minutes to go, they're within striking distance if things fall their way. If it goes the other way, then it'll be over with 3 minutes to go.
As Mosieri misses the 3 ball.
But a good look and a shot that he needs to take in this circumstance. They can't choose to be any pickier than that. They've got their best shooter and him in a little long for him, but in a spot that he certainly can score from.
Offensive foul against the Mavs. The Pacers now playing with more of a sense of urgency. Momentum slightly tipping in their favor here in the 4th. It's a 14-point game with 4 minutes to go. They have to play perfectly. As Boy finds Comer, fights for the offensive rebound. And a foul will go against Luka Buksa of the Mavs. That's his second personal. Team second here in the 4th quarter. McMinn checking in. Buksa sitting down.
So you're going to look now. I'm going to expect that the Mavericks are going to make sure that they have one of their better free throw shooting lineups out there, because we're near to the point to where the Pacers are going to need to start fouling some and putting the Mavericks to the line to keep the clock stopped in between scoring opportunities.
Boy misses the 3. Offensive rebound goes to the Pacers, and 1 for James Mosieri. He'll look to get 3 points the hard way as Blake McMinn commits his 3rd personal. Referee James Piercy says he just backed into him, and that's a call to be made.
So important free throw here. Every opportunity at the line for the Pacers. They can't leave scoring opportunities unfulfilled.
Mosieri, of course, knocks that one down. That's his first made free throw of the game.
So see, all of a sudden now we're back to 11, and the Pacers look like they may end up having an opportunity to get this to a single-digit game.
Well, Blake McMinn says, no thank you. He must have heard you.
Yep.
Lays it in transition. Lead back up to 13 for Dallas. Pacers need to move fast. Boy will take. Boy will make. Second 3 this quarter for John Boy as the Mavericks lead is now down to 10. One spot in the finals, two teams playing for it. McMinn can't put it in, and Romo will get called for the foul.
Not really sure why Dallas rushed and forced that possession. You have a 10-point lead, and each minute off of the clock is critical. The clock is their friend right now, so they need to make sure the shots they have are shots that they're happy to be getting.
Timeout Dallas. Pacers having momentum with 3 minutes left in the fourth. Down by 10. Can they do it and beat the reigning champs? We're going to find out shortly, ladies and gentlemen.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Three minutes, 15 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter. As the Dallas wheelchair Mavs, despite being up 10, have their wheelchairs backed up against the wall. This Pacers team has played with rejuvenated energy, to say the least, and they want to will their way to the finals. Cesar Villa missing under, and the Pacers are looking to pressure full court. Smart play by Dallas. You have the ball in your best player's hands, holding it at a keep away. 3 seconds on the shot clock. McMinn, perfect result, perfect execution for the Mavs.
Used a lot of time and got a puppy at the end. Not really sure why the Pacer defender under the bucket left McMinn.
Boy, yet again, 3 triples in a row for John Boy. Mavericks lead now cut to single digits. It's that boy yet again.
So now we're getting to the free throw shooting portion of the game. When a team's got a lead, 9 points here, 2 minutes to go. If you take care of the ball, no turnovers, and if you make free throws, you control your destiny. If you fail to take care of the ball, or if you fail to make free throws, then you open the door for for the team that's trying to come back. Whoa.
McPhail bounced off the back rim, rolled off the front, and still didn't hit the bottom of the net. 1 for 2 from the line from Dingo.
Confident look there on it, so.
Mavs back up by 10, but this Pacers team has an unrelenting offense that will never give in. 3 is just missed by Denbraber. 2 minutes remaining. The Mavs look to book a ticket to the NWBA Finals.
That possession for the Pacers was actually a good possession. Denbraber didn't hit it, but it was another open 3 for them, and that's what they have to have a few of those here to get back into this. Pacers are going to need to choose now who they want to shoot free throws and go get them.
As they're just playing hot potato. Seems like neither player wants it. They find Romo. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Romo will take. That one's missed, and the offensive rebound taken and recovered by McMinn. Whistle on the floor. Foul will go against Gabe Denbraber for his 3rd personal.
The offensive board on there really critical for Dallas. Romo shot very late in the shot clock, which was good, but not one where it was really very well squared up. So when that ball comes off, the Pacers have got to have that one.
McMinn scoring the ball at a fantastic clip. 15 total points in the semifinal. Misses the second.
4-possession game. So the Pacers need to comport themselves in a manner to know they need to have the ball 4 times and make those.
Denbraber off his own offensive rebound puts it in.
Good persistence by Denbraber there.
9-point lead for
Whoa.
the Mavs. McPhail skating past the defense. And he sends it down to James Flash Ross, who go to the line. Gabe Denbraber, his 4th personal. Mavs been in the bonus these last few trips to the line. Flash Ross has yet to score in this game until now.
Wow, 2 really nice free throws in with less than a minute to go.
51.2 remaining. Mavs with an 11-point lead as they are looking to book their way to the NWBA Finals coming up.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Mavericks is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Point Dallas lead as the Pacers will need to heave a 3. Mosieri too strong. The Mavs will just look to hold it. The Pacers will probably foul, send the Mavs to the line. But will it be enough? DeHart getting fouled by Mosieri, his 3rd personal.
So in this circumstance, clearly Josie DeHart is somebody the Mavs want on the line because they had options on that inbound, and they came to her with the ball. So she's somebody they're going to prefer on the line.
She's one of their most, if not the most, efficient shooter on the floor. She went 2 for 2 from the line in her last trip. That one just short. She may have missed it on purpose to keep the clock running. Mosieri puts it in. Lead back now, down to 10 for the Mavs. They inbounded to Romo. And now he gets fouled by Cesar Villa.
Good strategy there for the Pacers. In that circumstance, what you really try and do is give yourself a good 5 seconds to try and get a steal, and if you don't get it in that first 5 seconds, then you've got a foul.
This may be the final trip on the line for the Mavs. And Fabian Romo has scored the ball at a good clip, but his playmaking today has been phenomenal to send the Mavericks to the NWBA Finals. 14 points for Fabian Romo. A quick timeout for the Pacers. We'll keep it on air. Doug, what have you seen from the Mavericks that has gotten them to this point?
Well, they have a lot of depth and especially large player depth. A lot of agility in the front court. Good, consistent perimeter shooting, particularly from DeHart. You can tell this team has played together. You know, they know where they want the ball to be. You know, they want to get it in Fabian Romo's hands and let him create for the bigs. And in the half court, they want to get the ball on the wing to DeHart. You know, interesting to me that we didn't see Danny Fick or Pabon, you know, at all in the second half. Hopefully that's not an indication of any injury. You know, I'm expecting it's just that they probably liked the look of the combinations they had running out there without those two.
The Mavs look to push. It's DeHart with the shot missing. Shot clock turned off. Here's McDonald.
Doesn't matter, but I'm not sure why they even took that shot. You know, the clock is more their friend than.
Leaning back and scoring with a difficult make. Sean Boy falling down to his left. How did he put that in?
Yeah, especially for a lower classification player. You know, that's part of what makes him as useful as he is to the U.S. national team, is that he's really athletic for a Class 1 player.
And that will do it, Doug. The Dallas Wheelchair Mavericks are returning to the NWBA Finals with a 10-point victory against the Mary Free Bed Pacers. We have the next matchup coming up. It's the Wausau Market Eagles taking on the Charlotte Rollin Hornets. It's the 2 seed versus the 3 seed, and we're on in 20 minutes. Doug Jones alongside me. My name is Max Cates. Thanking all of you for turning into wheelchair basketball action. We got a game coming up in 20 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. The final one here on Saturday.